friends, let's talk about what is going on in and outside of the DC area when it comes to the housing market. If we haven't met, my name is Chelsea Winstead. I am a home financing strategist and a mortgage broker. I am a prior Air Force officer as an FYI, so I end up having a lot of connections and friends who work and live around the DC area. Specifically, also because over the past year and more, we've seen some crazy layoffs happen and just a lot of movement overall and people coming in and out of the DC area. I had a couple people reach out to me and specifically request that I do some updates around, the Beltline and just people getting into DC. So this video is for you. Okay, so I'm going to hit on some core spots and talk through just some bullet points. Okay, so let's talk about Bethesda, Maryland. So average home price here is between 900,000 and $1 million. Days on market is 20 to 25 days. Many are still being sold over the list price, and so the year-over-year price change here is about 0.6%. So that's pretty mild, just given like what's been going on in the area. Overall though, as you could probably guess, market here is pretty seller leaning, mainly because of the following. We have high income earners here, top schools are in the area, and the fact that there's really low inventory means that buyers have to compete to get into the house. So honestly, I could tell you with the 20 to 25 days on the market, probably going to be seller leaning. Okay, let's talk about Silver Spring, Maryland. Average home price here, 500 to 600,000, so a little bit more affordable. Days on market between 30 and 40 days. Year-over-year price change, so this is actually negative, so a slight decline versus last year. It's down about 0.7%. So not like a major dip, but still something to note. Because of that in particular, and because the days on the market are over 30, the market type here is actually considered to be balanced. This is one of the more, they call it more of an approachable or an affordable DC adjacent markets. Still competitive, but not like impossible to get into. Okay, let's talk about Rockville. So average home price here is between $650,000 and $700,000. We've got 20 to 30 days is the average time on the market. Homes are being sold at list price for the most part. Year-over-year price change here is up about 1.2%. So not a huge increase, but still something to note. We've got that this market overall is balanced, but with a slight seller tilt, specifically because of those days on market. So the year-over-year price change is actually fairly low, which would normally benefit buyers. But the fact that homes are only sitting on the market for less than 30 days does typically tend to show that, it's a little bit more seller leaning. Okay, let's talk about Gaithersburg, Maryland. Average home price here is between $450,000 and $500,000. Days on market between 30 and 45 days. Now get this, many are currently selling under list price, okay? And the year-over-year price change is flat, so no change in pricing. Because of that, so we're seeing homes on the market for more than 30 days, and because price changes are not drastically up, this would mean that technically we're balanced, but with a more buyer-friendly tone because of that. Okay, let's talk about Germantown, Maryland. Average home price here between $420,000 and $460,000. Average days on market between 40 and 50 days. Currently, right now, most homes are actually selling under the list price. The year-over-year home price change is actually down, so a mild decrease. So we've seen it's about between 1.7 and 1.8 negative, so a decline from last year. Okay, so this means if you could guess, what would the audience say? Anytime we see homes on the market over 40 days specifically, and when we see a decrease in prices, that means that we are in a buyer's market typically, mainly because, especially when you see those home prices drop, that means that the prices are dropping to meet the demands of the market. So if people in the market are unwilling to pay the current prices of the homes, sellers who are serious have to drop their prices to sell their house. So in this scenario, that is what is happening here. Also, as a note, it says this is one of the very few DC area suburbs where negotiation on the buyer side is actually still an advantage. So something to note, if you're looking to buy around this area, maybe check out Germantown if you haven't. Okay, let's talk about Columbia, Maryland. Average home price here between $550,000 and $600,000. Days on the market between 30 and 35 days. So that's pretty quick overall. Now, year-over-year home price change here is up between 2.9 and 6.8%. Okay, so that's pretty good increase in appreciation because of the quick amount of time on the market and that pretty big jump in appreciation. This is a more seller leaning market. With that said, though, there's really strong schools, and this is deemed to be a very central location, which keeps demand pretty high here. All right, last one I'm going to talk through, Laurel, Maryland. Average home price here, 420 to 470. Days on the market between 35 and 45. Now, most places right now are actually selling under the list price, which is pretty interesting. So the year over year price change is actually flat. So no increase, but no decrease. With that said, so flat pricing and days on market going up to 45 days, probably would deem this as a balanced market, but with more buyer leaning and stronger negotiation tactics the longer the house sits on the market. So this is basically dubbed as an underrated commuter market with improving leverage specifically for buyers. So zooming out, big picture. So inside the Beltway, still super competitive, fewer homes, and you got to be quick to make an offer, often at list, if not above, right? Because you just don't have as much inventory. When you go a little bit outside of that belt, and we're looking more of like Howard, Frederick, you have more inventory, longer days on market, brings negotiation back to your advantage. But obviously your trade-off is you're further away, so you're commuting further away. What's really interesting though is the DC burb market is so separated depending on where you're buying. So literally 2 exits away, like $150,000 price difference can actually have be presenting you a totally different home buying experience, size, all of that, crazy stuff because of specifically the area that you were buying in. So if this is you, if you live in this area, if you live around this area, if you are wanting to make a home purchase this year, you feel like now's the time, but you just don't even know what to do, my market analysis dashboard for you would be phenomenal. It is totally free, no cost. Best way to get access to that, link on my profile, pick the first or second option. You're going to pop in some specifics for me that helps me identify price point, what we need to be focused on. I will then create a free profile and dashboard for you, get you added to that so you can dive in and actually look at the specifics, all based on different zip codes that you are interested in buying in. If you have any immediate questions for me, comments are always open. I wouldn't recommend DMing me, y'all, because there's just some crazy people up on this thing. So best way to really get a hold of me is to either fill out one of the 2 options on my profile, or you can always text me directly. All right, you guys, see you soon.